The Power Rangers have already had a big year, but now publisher Boom Studios is about to relaunch the entire franchise with two new comics, Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers. And yes, that is the title of two different comics. But to get the full scoop on what sounds like it's shaping up to be a more phenomenal relaunch, we're chatting with writer Ryan Parrott. What's up, Ryan?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. It's weird. I think you're the first person who's actually said the title out loud, and I realize it is complicated and confusing, and that's going to be difficult. So I'm going to have to figure that out. I have to figure out my entire sorting process and everything.
So I know the biggest twist for me out of all this news is that the Mighty Morphin series is introducing an all-new Green Ranger to the team lineup, who is not Tommy Oliver. And in fact, Tommy is still on the team as the White Ranger. So can you tell us, who is this character? What is this character? And what is their relationship to Tommy?
I will not tell you who they are because that's part of the reveal of the book. So good try. But that was one of the things that's been fun. I think I've been writing Power Rangers for almost 4 years now. And one of the things that I learned from writing sort of the original series was that one of the tough parts of writing Go-Go Power Rangers, his last run, was tying into it was basically writing a prequel book that was tied to a TV show that's 25 years ago, and trying to weave a story between those episodes, and that just gave me an ulcer and a headache. So now the goal is to try and not step away from the series because this is all canon and I want the books to line up with the show. But I think for me, it was just about trying to find a spot in the Power Ranger universe that I could sort of slow down and tell my own stories for a little while. And it came out of as I was writing the series, I realized that we had sort of the Psycho Dagger was out there, and we had this green power coin that was just sort of sitting there. And I realized we could create a new Green Ranger and what that would do to the team, bringing in doing a new version of Green with Evil would be a really interesting way to do it. So obviously the person that is behind the helmet has history with the Power Rangers, and who they are and how they will change the team and affect the relationships on it will be ongoing.
Okay. That was a pretty good tease. You're setting up Lord Zed, as the big villain. And it sounds like this time he's worse than ever. So what makes Zed so dangerous this time around?
I felt like I gave him sort of the short end of the stick in Necessary Evil, not on purpose, but just from the nature of the way the story was told. He wasn't the central antagonist of that series, and so I tried to give him as many fun moments as possible, and I had him get hit by a Zord, which is always fun. But yeah, if you're gonna take Jet out, you should hit him with a giant robot. That's the best way to do it. But I felt like now that sort of the book is sort of settled into a groove a little bit, and we're sort of have this new sort of reset, it felt like, okay, now I want to try and really dig into who Zed is, why Zed acts the way he is, and sort of define him in a new way beyond the show. Because that was my favorite thing about working in the first run, Go-Go Power Rangers, was getting to sort of recontextualize Rita and find ways to try and make her more of a threat, try and find nuance to the character, find reasons as to, one of the things that's been interesting about the Power Rangers was always like, why do they keep using the same fighting? Why do they send a monster and putties down over and over and over again? What are they hoping to do with that? I mean, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. There's a point where they should start to learn from their mistakes. And so if retconning that and trying to figure out a reason for that, and sort of also trying to look at why Zed, I remember when he came out on the show, he was terrifying. Like those first, I think there was calls from parents that asked to make him less scary on the show because he was scaring kids. So I want to try and go back to that Zed. I want to try and make that guy, I want to bring him in and make him a real threat. And so the idea was to sort of use the arrival of the Green Ranger as a sort of a jumping off point to try and do that.
Okay, and do I have it right that the Omega Rangers will have to work with Lord Dracon?
Draken? Yeah.
Draken?
Yeah. Yes. They will have to work with him in some form. He's a really, really popular character, and he hasn't been in the book in almost 2 years, I guess now. So we were thinking it'd be fun to bring him back and if we were going to bring it back, I wanted to sort of do it in sort of a new way. I didn't want him to be just sort of like a, you know, despotic warlord. So the idea is when you meet him in 50, he's a little bit broken, he's a little bit scared, and he's kind of a new person. And so I loved the idea of sort of throwing him into the mix with the Omega Rangers because all the history they have together, but also just the idea of putting somebody that's unreliable, untrustworthy in it for himself, but having to work alongside that person. I mean, Loki is probably one of my favorite characters in Marvel, and the idea of being able to sort of create a Loki character that, you know, that has a lot of backstory was a lot of fun. And so he's just become one of my favorite characters to write because you just can do anything you want with him.
So that is all the time we have today. But before we go, are there any final thoughts you'd like to leave the Power Rangers fandom with, Ryan?
I just want to thank everybody. Getting to, Necessary Evil was I did that for like a year and a half, and obviously like there was a 4-month break between the penultimate issue and the finale, and so which gave it a lot of a build up. But everybody, all the fans have been so great and wonderful with their comments, and people seem to enjoy it. So I just want to thank everybody out there. The Power Ranger community is such a loving and forthright group, and they're the best. So just thank you for all of that, and I hope that they like this new run and they come along for the journey.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. Okay, see you guys later. I'm going to go see if Ryan will give me a sneak peek at these comics before they come out in November 2020. Bye.